so sorry.
So how is everyone doing on? We're starting class. So how are we doing on object orientation? Does anybody have any questions? It works? That's good.
Yeah. For the guessing game one?
Guessing game?
The
Oh, you're working on Boggle?
Yeah. Made a customizable board based on a number you choose. You can make it as big as you want. They basically choose the die, and the die
Choose the die.
determines how many die you want. If you want 25 die, then your board will be 5 by 5. If you want, 36, then it'll be 6x6. If you want 16, it'll be 4 by 4.
So you're choosing how big the board is. I think that's like an extra step before you start.
It was fun.
Okay. So,
I'll keep going.
oh, the projectors are on. So back to balanced parentheses.
Oh, who's starting?
Yes. If we go back to the pseudocode, we need to loop through it once.
We put the projector.
Yeah, it's one in that.
Oh, it's on.
So we need to loop through the input, and we need to find matching or unmatching brackets. In our case, we're going to find unmatching brackets. And we were recording the index of each unmatched bracket, so we can then go through the string again. Plug in the projector. Slows down my computer sometimes. Okay. So we'll loop through the input and find the unmatched brackets, find the indexes of the unmatched brackets, and then we're going to go loop through and delete or we don't have to delete or mutate the original string. We can just create a new string and add each character that is not in our list of unmatched brackets. These are two separate loops. This one will be a loop too. So let's jump into it. So we have two arrays. We started this earlier. So let's pseudocode here. I want to, if it's an open parentheses, I want to push it into the open else. If it is the closing, it depends what I want to do. So if there's a matching opening, I'm going to just take them both off the list so that I don't touch them later on. So if the length of open indices is greater than 1, then I'm going to pop.
Hey, Mike,
Yes?
whatever you're typing isn't showing up past line 3.
Really? Can you see it now?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So if the length is greater than 1, then we're going to pop off this value from open indices. Else, we will push this value onto those indices. So what we've done here is when there's a match, it gets taken out of our arrays. And when it's not matched, it stays in our arrays so that we know we'd have to delete these later on. So let's do this in our loop. So
Mike, is it going to have to be greater than or equal to?
Yes. So if this character is equal to opening parentheses, then we want to push this character in there. Else if equal to closing, what we're going to do, have a condition. If is greater or equal to 1, then we'll pop it off. So it's a match and we don't want to touch it later. Else, if the length is 0, then we want to delete that particular bracket because it has no matching open. So now we have open and closed indices. And outside of this loop, say again?
The push there with the push.
Oops. Yeah, what are we pushing? That's a good question. We'll push the character. Okay. So now we have 2 arrays of indices. Oh wait, we want indices.
So if you want to be pushing,
So we want these indices in the array, not the character. And then we're going to add these into one big array of unmatched parentheses. Equals open plus close. These are let. Can anybody tell me why I wouldn't want to do this? It's not Python? That's a good answer. Specific to JavaScript. So JavaScript has a bad design choice called global variables. And when you just use this syntax here, you set this variable in a global scope. So everywhere, this has no scope limit. It's just going to mess up your code elsewhere. So we're gonna wanna limit the scope with these keywords here. So we have these unmatched parentheses.
Is the addition operator overloaded to work that way with arrays?
The condition,
The addition.
oh, addition.
Is the addition operator overloaded to work the way you want it to?
Is it? Whenever I wanna find out if it is, I'll try it out. So I'm gonna say, that's interesting. It did a string. Let's try numbers. Uh-oh. It looks like it doesn't do what I thought it did. Which is strange because my code runs. Huh.
There may be a different way to concatenate.
Let's see.
Oh, there, for sure there is a .com.
Oh, yeah.
Array.concat. Looks like that's what's popping up.
That's what I was interested in. Right.
Hmm. And unless you use a particular language all day, you're gonna start getting them mixed up. Let's see. So we'll concat them. Looks like that's what's showing up most often. And that looks a lot more like what we want.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder why it runs in my code over there, though.
JavaScript polish.
It always runs, but
Crap. Seriously, don't put it out.
okay. So if unmatched is greater than, so if the length is 0, I just want to return the input.
Oh, not bad.
Oh, that's fine.
That's awesome.
Else, we're gonna loop through the input and set the output equal to if J is if the character, so if so if this array does not include this index, I'm going to push that particular character. And then after this loop, I'm going to I'm just going to put it down here. So it'll be an empty string here. And if I paste these in here, hopefully I'll be getting some of this. I've been testing along the way, so I'll probably get some bugs somewhere. So, oh. Output dot push.
I'm trying to push onto a string.
I'm trying to push onto a string. Oh no. Push is a method of an array. Is that what we wanted? Yes. And this one too.
That's good.
Sweet. It was a little hard for me this morning to get what Robert was saying about the indices, but that's what it was. Do we want to go over anything with classes? I'm surprised that everyone picked it up after one morning.
So how does testing work with classes?
How does testing work with classes?
I'm still at how does testing work?
So how does testing work? You have to have the...
We test each method of your class.
Yes, you would want to test each method of your class to make sure it works which way you think. And let's see. So let me pull up the... So before, you would expect your function to have a certain result. But when you're testing your class, you have to create a situation in which it behaves a certain way.
Okay, so does that mean like you actually end up having to create like fake data to input and then run through?
Yes, so you're gonna have to make fake data and create instances of the class.
Okay.
So your test is gonna look something more like this. This is showing you what not to do, but you will have something like this inside your test case, and your test will actually create each instance, call a method, give it some dummy data, and it'll expect things. And these will be where your expect blocks will be.
Okay.
Using the same.
Using the same syntax.
Okay.
But in between, you have to find out where to add these things.
Okay.
All right. Get cracking on Boggle.
Lunch, yeah.